The movie opens in a resort somewhere in rural Africa, where a man is engrossed in his work. But then all of a sudden, the electricity goes out, plunging everything into complete darkness. The man calls out to his assistant, asking him to fix the generator, but no one replies back. Annoyed, the man decides to fix the problem himself. The man goes to the generator room, right when this happens. In the next scene, a group of 7 Americans arrive at the same African country via an airplane. They are pretty excited to see the beautiful landscapes and wildlife. The group then gathers all their belongings, and begins trekking to a rendezvous point where their tour guide is supposed to pick them up. The airplane also departs, leaving them alone in this dangerous land. We are then introduced to the group, which consists of Emily and her nerdy friend, James, college athletes, Bobby and Logan, a couple, William, and Sarah, and finally, Sarah's sister, Mia. After a bit of walking, they arrive at the location, but the tour guide is nowhere in sight. They tried calling him, but this kind of story usually has no signal, so they reluctantly decide to wait in the scorching heat. 2 hours pass by, and the situation remains the same. Just when all hope seems to be lost, the tour van suddenly shows up, delighting everyone. A handsome guide then emerges from the van, and introduces himself as Adam. He apologizes to everyone for being late, revealing that their van ran into a problem earlier. But now it has been fixed. The group excitedly enters the van, and ventures off towards their lodge. For the first few hours, they have a pleasant ride, which gives them some much-needed rest. But midway towards their destination, the van malfunctions again. The driver quickly goes out to inspect, and he realizes that the problem is serious. He won't be able to fix the van here, as he doesn't have the tools for it, but he can call his uncle to bring in the required parts. This will take them at least a few hours. Hearing this, Adam becomes worried as they are already behind schedule, so he informs the group about the same. Since the lodge is only 8 miles away, he suggests that they hike all the way there. Worried about becoming a meal for deadly animals, the group discusses it for a while, and ultimately agrees to travel on foot. After gathering their belongings, they follow Adam, and set off on their journey. The only one who stays behind is the driver, as he's busy fixing his van. In the next scene, we see the group slowly marching towards their destination. Along the way, Sarah tries to help her sister, Mia, with her baggage, but the latter refuses, while we can see someone is keeping an eye on them. Elsewhere, as the driver is busy fixing his van, he hears a strange noise coming from nearby. Thinking it's Adam, he calls out his name, but there's no response. But just when he reaches the back of the vehicle, on the other hand, the group is still traveling through the vast jungle. At one point, Adam suddenly stops Bobby from touching a wired trap. He explains that these traps are set by the local tribesmen to hunt impala and other bucks. It will only take one more step for him to become the main attraction at a funeral. Shortly after, they reach a beautiful waterfall, where they decide to relax for 10 minutes, and Emily goes to the nearby bush to relieve herself. But as she is about to do so, she hears a creature up in the trees. This freaks her out, so she immediately runs to her friends. Emily then warns everyone that there's something hiding in the woods, but they brush her off, claiming it's only a monkey. After a while, the group packs their stuff and departs from there. However, Mia soon returns as she forgot to refill her water. While she is alone, we can see someone spying on her through the woods. All of a sudden, Mia starts screaming, prompting the others to rush to her. They are shocked to see a weird-looking tribesman trying to hold her. He has a weapon in hand and is completely bloodied. We see the latter tries to say something in his own dialect, but no one understands him. Just then, Adam shows up and takes control of the situation. He tells the group to continue their journey, while he talks with this man alone. After a while, Adam rejoins them, saying he took care of the problem. He claims that he chased him back into the woods. Here the nerd James notices blood on his machete, which says otherwise, and the group continues on their journey. In the next scene, they finally arrive at their destination. They pass by a stable first, which is strangely empty despite the smell of horse shit, and Adam claims that all the horses are grazing outside. While there, Emily spots a horse cart, so she excitedly gets on it to take a picture. Seeing this, Adam quickly tells everyone that they have to get to the lodge soon. After some minutes, the group arrives at their lodge, and there is a lake nearby. But not even a single tourist can be seen in the periphery. This leaves all the friends with the same question: where did everyone go? When they enter the lodge, it gets even weirder. The place is completely vacant, without any guests or staff members. Adam and the others call out for the manager for the place, but no one replies to them, and the landline is also dead. Here they find an envelope which was left to them by the owners, and learns that all the people have gone to the city to attend the funeral of a staff member, who suddenly passed away. Despite this, the owners have offered everyone to help themselves in the kitchen. The news brings a relief to the group and they are looking forward to their stay here. Adam then hands them the keys to their respective cabins. Emily and her friend, James, will be staying together. The second cabin will be used by the couple, William and Sarah. The third one for Bobby and Logan, and Mia will get the fourth one all by herself. Adam asks the group to freshen up and they'll gather for barbecue at 7 p.m. Cut to a few hours later, we see that everyone has settled into their respective cabins. In Mia's room, as she is arranging her stuff, someone seems to be keeping an eye on her from outside. She then goes to take a shower to get ready for the barbecue. Unfortunately, the mysterious person takes this opportunity to sneak inside the room. Later, we see the entire group outside, drinking beer and chatting with one another. Sarah is concerned for her sister, as she still hasn't shown up, but William assures her that she's just doing her makeup. Moments later, the arrogant Logan interrupts the nerd James, as he tries to get close to Emily. This infuriates the nerd, prompting him to deliberately bump into Logan with the drink. An argument almost ensues between the two, and Logan then goes inside the woods to take a leak. James, who is still humiliated by the earlier incident, follows him there. But then all of a sudden, an unknown figure grabs James from behind, and slashes his stomach, causing all his intestines to fall out. Back at the barbecue camp, Logan finally returns, but he has blood all over his nose. He claims that he stumbled in the dark and hit his face against a branch. Here Sarah has grown really worried for her sister, so she finally decides to go check on her. Adam also heads to the stable to get some more firewood for their barbecue. When Sarah reaches her sister's cabin, she finds the place completely dark. She calls out for Mia, but the latter doesn't respond. Sarah then brings out her torch and goes inside through the window. But to her utmost shock, she finds her sister's bloodied body lying on the floor. Outside, the rest of the group hear Sarah scream, so they rush to help her. Upon entering the cabin, they are also horrified to see the brutal state of Mia's body, with her eyes gouged out. Panicked, the group decides to immediately leave the area. But at first they have to inform Adam, who had gone to the stables to look for firewood. Bobby volunteers to find him, while Logan and Emily decide to go look for James, who has been missing since the earlier fight with Logan. After a while, Bobby reaches the stable, but doesn't find anyone around. Using his torchlight, he scans the area until he finds a secret door. Upon going inside, he is shocked to find several bloodied dead bodies lying on the ground. But then, one of them suddenly says help. On the other hand, Emily and Logan venture deep into the woods, where they find the mutilated remains of James. But they mistake it for Adam's body, as his broken satellite phone is lying nearby. Just then, Bobby arrives there with the injured women, so they rush to the cabin to treat her. After everyone regroups, Bobby explains what he saw in the stables. This makes the group finally realize where all the tourists and the staff members actually went. Meanwhile, Emily tends to the injured woman with a first aid kit. The woman eventually wakes up, and reveals that her name is Evelyn. She insists that they must leave this place right away, and finally reveals that she and her husband had come to this lodge for their vacations. But on their last day, a man suddenly arrived here with weapons. He forced everyone to a dark room, and executed them one by one. Evelyn was not critically injured because her brave husband shielded her from most of the bullets. Hearing all this, the group gather around and decide what to do next. Fortunately, Bobby has a map of this place, from which he learns that there's another lodge just 2 miles away. He plans to go there alone and summon for help. But just as he is about to depart, the assassin blows his head off with a single sniper shot. In a state of panic, the group immediately rushes upstairs, but poor Sarah is also shot in the back, resulting in her demise. William is shattered to see his girlfriend die like this, but his friends pull him away to safety. Following this, the psychopath enters the house, armed and dangerous. The friends have now barricaded themselves inside one of the rooms, and as Logan tries to push from the other end, the killer stabs his hand through the door. This freaks the group out, and they decide to escape through the window. Logan, William, and Emily somehow make it down, but Evelyn, who is already injured, ends up falling and breaking her leg. Regardless, the group escorts her away, and they hide under a bridge. Shortly after, they hear the assassin walk over the bridge and meticulously survey the area. Just then, Evelyn is stabbed from over the bridge, resulting in her demise. The remaining 3 quickly flee, and it is at this point that they finally realize there are actually 2 killers. After running through the forest, they finally arrive at the nearby lodge. Upon entering inside, there's no one there, and Emily gets straight to treating Logan's hand wound, but she goes outside to get some water first. Meanwhile, William finds a laptop, but to his utmost shock, he finds that someone was actually keeping an eye on their lodge. All the rooms were fitted with cameras. The laptop also contains several photos of Adam, who is revealed to be an ex-Marine. Surprisingly, there are also several newspaper articles, showing that Adam and his friend, Ethan, were dishonorably discharged from the Marine. These 2 apparently killed and tortured innocent civilians for their personal satisfaction. They were sentenced to death, but somehow managed to get away. Here, William and Logan finally realize that the 2 ex-Marine soldiers are hunting down tourists to quench their thirst of murder. But before they can run away, someone arrives in the room and knocks them out. When the friends wake up, they find themselves tied by ropes. Adam then approaches them with a knife, intending to finish them off. But before doing so, he reveals his reason for doing all this. He claims that he gave his life for the country, but they accused and humiliated him wrongfully, so he had to eventually leave the country. This is why Adam came to this rural village in Africa, where he could continue his killings. Saying this, he brutally gouges Logan's eyes, before stabbing him in the heart. Adam then reveals that he targeted this group specifically, because most of their parents are Marines. He wanted revenge for the humiliation he faced in the US, so this is his way of taking it. As Adam is busy explaining his story, Emily sneaks inside the room, takes his knife, and stabs him with it. She then quickly unties William, and the 2 run out of there. But when they reach the porch, they find the other psychopath, Ethan. This leaves them with no choice, but to fight for their lives. Emily and William go after the injured Adam, and start attacking him. Here Emily manages to stab him again, before William chucks him into the pond. After this, they run into the woods with Ethan chasing after them. Disaster strikes when William is shot in the leg, causing a lot of bleeding. This slows them down, and it appears that Ethan is going to finish them off. But in a surprising turn of events, the killer accidentally touches a wired trap, which results in him being impaled. Once he's dead, the friends quickly get his satellite phone, and call for help. Later on, they somehow reach the end of the forest, where a helicopter arrives to rescue them, and this is where the movie ends.